Welcome, everyone, to Enlightened World Network. I'm Sue Seekoff, and I'm so happy to be here today with the wonderful Michele Landers. We're absolutely delighted to have Michele back with us on EWN for our September numerology forecast. She'll be sharing her wisdom and insights to help us navigate the month ahead. Thank you so much for joining us, Michele.
Oh, thank you so much, Sue. And your smile lights up my life, and I'm sure it lights up everybody else's life. So keep smiling. It's beautiful. It extends out. So thank you for joining me today. And well, let's get into September. What's happening? It is a pivotal month, and it's interesting because I thought going back, I was thinking, wow, what's September going to bring? And let me just get into it and I'll explain why I had that feeling. So, both numerologically and astrologically, and of course, as I would always say, spiritually, because that's very important, it's very, very intense. So, the words that I would use to explain, or the words that I got about this month, besides pivotal, because it absolutely is a pivotal month, are turbulence, endings, but with endings come beginnings, and intensity, but also insight and revelation. And it's funny because I have to interject this because I was on with Teri Miller this morning on Cup of Joy, and she was talking about what I was going to do. And she said, revolution. And I said, Teri, that's interesting that you said revolution, because that's not what I wrote. But maybe that's a clue. So there might be revolution. And to quote the Beatles, right? So you think you need a revolution. And I think a lot of people think that. On the other hand, it's not all this scary, frightening things at all. And I just want to advise everybody, we're going to get through it just like we always do. But it's a lot of creativity. Who would think, right? Who would know with all this stuff happening on? Another word that came to me was waves. And I wrote this in because I don't know what the waves are of. I'm not sure whether that has to do with actual waves, water waves of, water, yes, it's been, water will continue to be an issue. Is that tsunami ever coming? I hope not. I hope not, but that's always in the back of my mind. Or it could be waves of information or something that is kind of dribbled to us, and that comes in waves. And again, I thought about the Beatles song. And actually, that was written in 1968 at a time when there was intense political unrest. And we just can't get away from that and bury our heads in the sand. So let's get to it. A lot is happening, but also things that are happening now will be far reaching. And what I mean by that things that unfold now, the results may not be seen for a few months or even, I don't know, even 6 months. And that's simply because the big two takeaways this month are the two eclipses we have in September. That is really potent. And we don't always see, there are many times where things happen when that happens on the eclipse, but eclipses go forward 6 months, that we can still see the effect of it. And of course, yes, we do have these pockets of good energy, but overall, very transitional, very intense month. So we'll talk about the numerology. We have the numerology, we have the astrology, we have the tarot cards, we have the perception or the insights of the month. So September vibrates to the number 9. We know that as a calendar. And globally, this year, the number is 2025. So that reduces to a single digit. That's 9. Already we should be paying attention to that, right? Because when we add the 9 of September to the 9 of the current year, we get 18. And what do we get when we add 1 and 8 together, right? 9. I mean, wow. We are getting a triple dose of 9 energy. And anybody who's into numerology, even a little bit, is going to understand that's big. That's very significant. Now, when you add the 2 eclipses, which standing alone are also powerful, and you add that 9 energy as well as the astrological transits, I don't see how it's going to be anything but a really important, pivotal, intense, and acute month. So it's important for us to note that in numerology, things go in 9-year cycles, and then a new cycle of 1 to 9 repeats. So the last time we were in a 9-year globally was 2016. And if we look back at 2016, we can ask ourselves, what were we faced with then? Is this a repeating pattern? Well, in 2016, Trump won the election. We had the UK Brexit's vote to leave, ending the UE. Prince, the performer, passed. That was ending. We had the Flint, Michigan water crisis. We had the Zika virus. Excuse me, this morning, I just have a little frog there. We also had the Panama Papers. And if anybody's familiar or not familiar with that, those were documents that were released exposing widespread exposing, keep that word in mind, exposing widespread offshore tax havens used by wealthy individuals. Now, it's interesting because despite the massive fallout, only a few high-profile figures faced any type of consequences. But, and this is on a very sad note, the journalists who exposed the Panama Papers, Daphne and Cariano Galizia, I believe, she was assassinated. So it was a very potent, heavy time. So let's talk about the number 9, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We know that 9's an ending cycle. So this month and this year, we have endings, we have completions, we have closures, we have introspections. When we have to add the 9 of September to the 9 of the global year, and we arrive at the number 18. So let's add 1 and 8 together, and what do we get? What do we get again? We get 9. So we are experiencing a triple dose of 9 energy this month, and that is very, very significant. And no doubt, it is a year of completions and a month of completions. The number 9 is extraordinarily powerful. I tell people if they're in a 9 personal year, I tell them it's a cleansing year, which please understand, the universe works in our favor. It's only when we don't pay attention to the positive energies of a number and the challenging aspects of a number. If we don't pay attention to that, that's when we can possibly get into trouble. So I tell people who are in a 9 personal year, it's a cleansing year. We also have that number globally right now. So I do have to believe that in the end, the 9 is going to clear out the excesses. It's going to show us what's no longer working for our highest good. So the theme this month, globally, 999. We have a very strong push by the universe to let go or remove or just change what is not working. So also when I say globally, this does apply to you personally. Your numerology chart, of course, would be more specific about the months. So if we don't get our house in order, I will tell you, and I'm sure you already know this, the universe is going to do it for us. Maybe not immediately, but it's setting the stage. And this month is setting the stage. It is so much easier and smoother if we're the catalyst for the change and we don't wait for the universe to do it for us. You know, the old 3x5 or 2x5s, I'm sorry, therapy, which I suffered from for a long time. Like, how do we get your attention? So, what does all this mean? Well, I would expect lots of serious shakeups in our country and all over the world. And like last month, people in the news, people in authority, stepping down, being let go, being uh, leaving the planet, even. So, what does the nine ask of us? Because nine is the number of humanity, the nine calls for widespread. That's in italics. That's in uh, capital fonts. Humanitarian efforts. Certainly, that's not what seems to be happening now. So I would expect that there's going to be some type of a groundswell movement of more people coming together to promote and further their cause. And I know I've been seeing it on the news, and I'm sure a lot of people have been seeing that. You know, people are coming together, and we can liken it back to the 60s when, come together, people now. Okay. I normally just want to break into song when some of these lyrics come up, but you got it. So I just want to put this as an aside. I'm not taking any political stance at all. I'm just honestly reporting the numbers. Trump is in a very, very challenging health cycle, and he has been. I've been watching it. He has been for a while. I know it's in the news, but I'm not sure if people are aware. At least if you looked at his numerological chart and his astrological chart, how serious it is, because it's looking pretty serious. Okay, so moving on, more people, and this goes for by the same token, it could be for other people in prominence. I'm just specifically talking about his chart because it was so much in the news, and I decided to look at some of the energies again. But other people in the news will be experiencing either endings or challenging issues right now. There'll be more people raising their voices, speaking out, demanding answers, demanding accountability. And it is a time we need to weed out the insufficiencies, weed out the incompetence, weed out the untruths, and anything that we know is hindering us. And so, more than any other time this year, and especially this month, I implore you, we're being guided by the universe to let go of the old and prepare for the new. Now, this can take place on all levels. It can take place physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. What can we expect on a physical level? Wild weather continues. That's not surprising, but also surprising weather. It's like, wow, we didn't see that coming. Volcanoes, eruptions, even maybe something to do with the Earth's plates. Mother Nature is saying enough, and she has been for a long time. And it also can mean, without a doubt, structure, some type of structure falling or, being destroyed or falling. It's about companies ending, companies merging. Oh my goodness, I just lost my necklace. I don't know what that means. My necklace is getting too thin, or is it a message? um, Relationships being tested or ending globally, personally in your own life, you might definitely find that there's some kind of a shift in the relationship. It could be a good shift, it could be a challenging shift, it could be a time to let go. The nine can bring, um, of course, it can bring power struggles because nine is both the humanitarian and the opposite, ego driven personality. On an emotional level, I do expect these just intense feelings. And people, look, people are feeling anxious, they're feeling tired, they're feeling angry. I mean, in the head, even, they might feel a little lightheaded, a little off center, disturbed sleep or restless sleep. Also, more road rage. And I also see that people are feeling, are they're like super hyper and feeling, um, or feeling depleted. I mean, it could be like they swing from one thing to the other, feeling really hyper, but also feeling, oh, I feel so depleted. I can't do this anymore. So we're going to experience, I believe, a type of bombshell month. But, I always want to point out the numbers have two sides. As I said, it has the positive and the challenging. I really shy away from using the word negative because that's not part of my personality. And I'm not trying to be a Pollyanna, but I do believe that even when negative things happen, it is a challenge for us to extract what we learn from it, what's the good from it. So what does it all depend on, whether it's challenging or positive? Well, it's really two things. First of all, we have to know some things are just fated. They're just going to happen. There's nothing we can do about it. And unfortunately, no one that I know on the face of this earth, except maybe some gurus who are meditating in the Himalayas or in some place, know exactly what's going to happen because we're in a human form. So we can't always tell you exactly what's going to happen, but we can give you the energy surrounding it. And so again, though some things are fated and the universe says this is it. And number two, it also largely depends on us and how our energy is vibrating. And we talk about this on EWN. I talk about it. I post about it. I talk to my clients about it because I'm also a spiritual coach. I talk about this all the time. If you are vibrating at a level of caring, compassion, and love, you are less likely to experience the challenging aspects of that number. And if more and more people, more of us are just working at leveling up our vibration and, stop sending those poison arrows to the people we believe are hurting us. I know that is so hard. The divine responds to that in a positive way. It really helps to smooth the path, a bit and more. So I want to talk about the positive aspects of the number nine. Okay. It is caring for humanity. It's the humanitarian. It is forgiveness. It's love. It's compassion. It does have a connection to the arts and the humanities. It's the entertainment field. It's very creative. It's wonderful for artists, for writers, creators, designers, idea people, anything in that creative field, that imaginative field. It's very, very good for that. It's very inspirational. So put your creative hat on this month. You have some ideas, start writing about it, start putting it out there, right? However, it's not the time to be impulsive. And unfortunately, I do see that, though, a lot of impulsive moves this month. So I believe we will have a lot of people, or we have to get a lot of people on board to mitigate the challenge this month. And if not, similar to last month's energy, we're going to again see these big egos at play and power struggles, lying, fighting. But somehow this month it seems more intense. And I don't know about you. I probably do know about you. Nobody wants that. We don't want that any longer. And that is because the universe or the divine or God, whatever you call it, are saying, okay, now here's the deal. You either fix this mess, you either clean it up, let go of it, and make things right, or we're going to do it for you. And just a heads up, maybe not today or not immediately, but we're going to get to it. But we're still going to give you some time. But you may not like, if we have to do it, you may not like how we do it. So that is 999 energy. And so it's likely to be emotionally reactive, up and down this month. We'll be seeing demands being made. I want to suggest to you that starting anything new if should be postponed if possible. But if you're working on creative projects, oh my God, full steam ahead. Anything creative, anything to do with humanity, anything to do with art, full steam ahead. Right now, it's just not the best time, to complete it, I guess. So if possible, wait until the end of this month or next month to finalize it. But that does not apply to the humanitarian efforts, by the way. I mean, if you can go out there and do what you can, please do that. And the other thing is, which, I really have to mention, we're in Virgo season until the 22nd. And we also have Mercury in Virgo until September 18th. And Mercury is what? We talk about this, right? It's our mind, it's thinking. And Virgo is very detailed, very practical, sometimes too detailed. It's critical, it wants precision. Mercury in Virgo is kind of demanding and asks us to look at things with a much more logical mind, not to be deceived. It's cleansing. It's looking at mistakes, our mistakes, world leaders' mistakes, and how we can make corrections. So there is a little bit more to that, but I think I'm going to start with the tarot cards. So the first tarot card we have, I should get them out right now for you, right? I love when we add this. So what's the first tarot card I'm going to pull is the number 9, which is the Hermit. Now you can't, I don't know if you can see that, guys. I think you can. Yeah. The Hermit. I love the Hermit. And what is that? That's introspection. The Hermit offers divine wisdom to us and guidance and good counsel if we just tune in. If we can calm ourselves long enough to just listen, because the universe is always communicating to us either with words or with signs or through other people or through finding things. So really pay attention. It's soul searching, it's illumination, it's also solitude. So it also is probably a good idea to spend some time this month in solitude. Build this great time to build your altar at home. Have a place that you can go to, that you can infuse it with your energy. So when you go there, it's time to tune in. And it doesn't have to be in a separate room. It could be in a corner of any room. Just, step away from the craziness so you can hear the truth. So the number 9, the Hermit, is telling us also we are at a pivotal point. So let's pull another card. You need the 18. Okay, here's the 18. I got to get it at an angle, right? It is the moon card. I'm laughing because it's so appropriate this month. It's about our fears, our anxious thoughts. It's about things, again, look at this. This is the crab or the Scorpio and coming out of the water, things coming out of the water, looking at the moon, saying, what's behind the surface, things coming back to be revealed or reevaluated. Reevaluation is a big word this month. And the moon card tells us there are hidden truths, and they're only going to be revealed when we dig, and look beyond the surface. So I definitely expect that truths are going to be revealed or come out, new information. One good example is Virginia Joffrey, and she was a victim, and she's also an accuser of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And sadly, died by suicide. Okay, so I mean, that was terrible. That happened this year. Well, she has a memoir that she wrote before her death called Nobody's Girl. And that is coming out either the end of this month, but it might be next month. But that information just came out. So that's very telling. So again, it means more truths coming to the surface. On another level, it's also a beautiful invitation to explore our subconscious mind and listen to our inner guidance, especially all the things that I mentioned before, and in the form of dreams. It is looking beyond the appearance of how you think things are. There are blurred lines between what is real and what is perceived. It's illusion versus reality. And I think the moon card, which represents some of the energy this month, that highlights those blurred lines between what's real and what's perceived, urging us, the card urges us, ask questions. What are we assuming? Can we see through the deception? And I just have to take a minute for a public service announcement because I think this is important. I want to interject that Teri Angel and I are doing a free workshop entitled Beyond the Illusion, Perception, Truth, and the Power of Inner Clarity. You can sign up for this workshop, which is going to be on September 18th at 7 p.m. on EWN. And unfortunately, I don't have the link to give you, but you can certainly go to EWN, or you can go to, you can text me, or you can email me, and I'll give you that information later to find out when it is. It's free. It's 7 o'clock. It's September 18th, which is, guess what? 9/9. I promise you it's going to be powerful. Anyway, back to the numerology and the tarot cards, and then we'll get on to the very important astrological aspects. So I'm going to talk briefly about the United States because it's also in a very pivotal month. We're going through some major shifts in energy. We had a major shift in July, as well as this month. And the United States, besides being under the global energy of 9, it's in an 11-2 vibration. And if you know about 11-2, you understand what that means. And if you don't, I'm going to tell you what it means. So the 11-2 vibration it's a master number, and it's illumination. It shines light on things. And we like that. It's about relationships. I'm going to show you the card in a minute. It's about relationships coming to a head, breaking or ending relationships, or new relationships. It definitely calls for balance in a big way. And of course, it can mean imbalances and extremes, but we don't want to go there. It's a highly highly charged month. So the energy is like this. But, when you rise up to it, how do you do that? By your meditation, by watching EWN, by practice, well, using all your tools in your spiritual toolbox, spending quiet time alone, going near water. Oh, and there was something else I was going to tell you about, and I'll do that at the end. So, and of course, the tarot card it corresponds to, I'm going to use the two, is the High Priestess. Let's look at her. Okay, well, what about the High Priestess? The High Priestess is a keeper of secrets. Okay, comes up over and over again, secrets and wisdom. It's surprise happenings. It's very much can be cooperation or lack of cooperation. It is highly intuitive, and it is the divine feminine. So that's more women, female energy. It is urging us again and again, check into your intuition, start listening more, as I said over and over again. I don't know if I was going to mention this or not, but I will. Okay, so we also have the 20 card of the tarot, right? Because it's a 2 month. It's an 11-2 primarily, but the 20 of the tarot also carries some information. And what's that? That's a judgment card. So that is, I love that. That's Gabriel blowing his horn and saying, wake up. Everybody wake up. And I just love how all of this fits together. So I think it's a beautiful thing. So it's telling us to wake up, to sharpen our intuition, sharpen our spiritual skills, to wait, to watch, to listen. Okay. Now, I think we'll get into the astrology. All right, let's see. Okay. Yeah, let me talk about Pluto. Now, I just want to clarify something. I am not an astrologer. I know about astrology, but I do a little bit of astrology in my numerology readings, depending on what's going on. But I'm not a professional, I should say that, professional astrologer, but I do know about astrology. So I want to mention that Pluto is going to be out of bounds well, it was out of bounds, I should say, on August 29th, and it's going to remain out of bounds until November 23rd. So what does that mean? Well, it amplifies potentially any destructive or transformative energy. Because what is Pluto? Pluto is the planet of transformation. And I don't know why transportation keeps coming up in my head. So put that aside. So we know that Pluto in Aquarius is going to bring stunning changes. And it has, I don't think anybody can deny that. I talked about that. Astrologers talked about that. Everybody in the psychic intuitive fields have been talking about Pluto in Aquarius since last year, that it brings stunning changes. But it's going to be around for, 30 years. So in 30 years, we will most likely have a totally different good planet, because Pluto in Aquarius wants to bring it to the people. So hang your hat on that, please. So we are in just the beginnings of Pluto in Aquarius. And I think it's really activated. It's activated even more than I thought this year. So even though it will take a while, it's going to be these pockets of, oh boy. In the meantime, this transit will create tyrannical efforts, struggles, but it also is saying, okay, we want to bring the truths out. And sometimes we don't get through to the pleasure of it until we go through the pain of it. So we actually have to face it. And that's the big deal, facing it. So September is going to challenge us when it comes to dramatic endings. Alrighty, let's go into the astrological transits. The energy, the other thing I wanted to mention too, that I don't always mention every month, the energy of these transits are not just that day. It can be a few days before, it can be a few days after. The eclipses are a different story. That's 6 months. So today, September 1st, what do we have? Well, we have Saturn retrograde in Pisces. We know that Saturn is the teacher or the taskmaster, and Pisces is emotional and sensitive, intuitive. So you can see the two of those don't always go together really well. It brings up feelings of needing to reassess, where are we? Where are we globally and personally? And Saturn wants to rip off that band-aid of delusion. So things can be foggy, but it is a good time, of course. You have to have your head about you, and you have to be really introspective, okay? But yeah, Saturn, let's rip that off. Tomorrow, September 2nd, Mercury enters Virgo. The next couple of days is really going to be a mix, a real mix, because there's this nice energy and then this other energy that's here. So Mercury in Virgo is a nice transit. They get along. So maybe on the heels of September 1st, we might have some clarity, because what's Mercury thinking? What's Virgo? Precise, precision, get to the bottom of it. It's a sharp mind, and you can focus better. And actually, this transit is going to be around until September 18th. So I guess it's always going to be in the background. So you're going to be able to pull on that energy of Mercury in Virgo. But don't get too excited, because the very next day, September 3rd, end of the day on September 2nd, September 3rd, we have Mercury squaring Uranus. This is a bit of a challenging square, I would say. Mercury is communication. Now, understand that these are the transits in the I'm not making it up. It's just amazing to me. I just keep saying it's so amazing to me how accurate they can be. Mercury's communication includes the news, of course. It is thinking. Uranus is unexpected surprises. So I think that has to do with our hearing, surprising things, unexpected things that can lead to changes. It can bring breakdowns or breakthroughs. And on an individual level, of course, this all applies. And we have to watch for being stubborn in our views or ideas. So, don't be too rigid. Virgo can be rigid. And I am talking about Virgo, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm talking about Mercury squaring Uranus, but we still have that Virgo energy. So, yeah, be careful of stubbornness or being too rigid. Now, the other thing I believe is happening that day is there is a group of Epstein. I think this is a big month for Epstein papers, or what's going on with Ghislaine and what happened with Epstein, because there's a group of victims, accusers that are going to appear. I think it's on the 3rd. I'm not absolutely sure. So I think that's going to raise a lot of awareness and a lot of heads. Okay, on September 4th, we have another square, Mars and Jupiter. I mean, sure, Mars is like energy. We can have a surge of energy, But there's also an intensity, Mars is intensity, Mars is fiery energy. I mean, sometimes Mars is good to get things done. And Jupiter expands, um, but this is a square. So things can blow up, and that could be figuratively, literally. It can bring arguments, it can bring conflicts. It also can bring a lot of determination. Again, 3 days before, 3 days after. So on September 6th, we have Uranus retrograde at 1 degree of Gemini. Now, again, I'm not a professional astrologer, but I do know that 29 degrees and 1 degree, either 29 or 1, either going right, just going into a sign or ending a sign, those are critical points. So this is a time and a critical point of reflection, having to do with looking back 9 years, looking back this year of all the changes that have been happening. And especially in the world of technology, the ways of communicating, finances, medicine, it is also new perspective and new ideas. So on September 7th, well, here's our first eclipse. It's a total lunar eclipse in Pisces, and it's called the blood moon. We know that eclipses are always impactful. Pisces, again, what is Pisces? It's intuitive, it's emotional, it's sensitive. So it is spiritual and encourages spiritual awakening, spiritual renewal, deep insights. It's not such a bad one, it's also letting go of what's not working in your life. And again, that's another theme this month. So let's move forward to September 12th, where we have Sun sextile Jupiter. Now, this is a nice transit. It's even an amplifier. And in Virgo, it's uplifting, it's optimistic, it is expansive, it brings opportunities, it encourages us to step into our confidence, it's taking bold steps. So when these little pockets of good energy appear, I'm always a little bit, should I use the word concerned? I always want people to understand or to look at these positive aspects and latch onto it, because the things that are happening prior to it may have you feeling, oh God, how are we going to get through this? So you may miss, because if your head's full of worry, I can tell you right now, you are not going to be able to, it's all right, I don't want to use absolutes, but it's so unlikely to be able to have that clear pipeline to the divine, which I always talk about. I picture that pipeline like an artery. And when an artery gets full of plaque, what happens? It's the blood can't get through. There's not a clear channel. It's the same thing with spiritual knowledge and spiritual downloads. It's like arterial sclerosis, but I have another word for it, and I forgot, and I wrote about it in my book, but it has to do with that, like keeping your pipeline clean. And how do you keep your pipeline clean? Well, you can't literally scrub it, or you can't take medication, but you can meditate, and you can clear your head as much as humanly possible to allow the universe to talk to you, to calm you down. Again, it invites divine downloads and insights. All right. So it brings opportunities. It encourages us to step into our confidence, and it encourages us to take bold steps. Now, on the 13th, we have Mercury Cazimi, which means the sun conjoins Mercury in Virgo, and that can bring us clear sightedness and also divine downloads. It can bring solutions to problems that maybe we didn't think of. There is some South Node involvement, so that's going back. And you might want to resurrect a skill or a hobby. And remember what I said, it's such a great time for creativity as well. So think about that. It can even bring good news. It can bring things falling into place. All right, let's jump ahead. What are the other transits here? Okay, September 15th, we have a Venus Mars sextile. I think that's another pleasant transit. It's harmonious. It's positive action. It can create a feeling of renewed confidence. It's high energy. It's a good day for social interactions. That would be good. But we also have on the 17th, we have Mercury and Virgo opposing Saturn in Pisces. Okay, so what happened? Okay, now we put the brakes on a little bit. Globally, personally, maybe our plans hit a wall. Hopefully, it's a soft wall. It could be roadblocks, it could be feelings of restriction or challenges. Another word that came to me, I don't know why, but a lot of times when these things come to me, even if it doesn't make sense, I feel like I have to say it. Something to do with, it's like a gag order, and I don't know if literally it'll be a gag order, but it's something like that, preventing us, preventing someone from saying what is true or speaking what's on your mind, so it can be a difficult or challenging transit with authority figures. So just keep that in mind. September 18th, Mercury enters Libra. It's eloquent. I like this. It's diplomatic. It's charming. Who doesn't love charm? Who doesn't love a little charm? And that's my friend Michael Land. She understands. It wants fairness. It wants harmony. It's also about finding balance. It's good for peaceful talks. Let's hope that comes about. It's about fairness. The other side of it is on September 18th. We also have Mercury opposing Neptune. So again, there's there might be a lot of talks, but there's still a little bit of confusion and fogginess and a little bit of lack of clear thinking and a little bit of judgment. So I would say on September 18th and 19th, try to avoid making big decisions. But I think great news is the 18th is the day of Teri's and my workshop. So it is so practical and wonderful to be on that day because it's going to invite you to look at things differently and understand a little bit more about how we have this confirmation bias, but how do we look at things more clear-headed and not with the pileup of beliefs that we've acquired our entire life? Doesn't that sound a little bit, I don't know, it sounds a little bit dicey, but it sounds to me really inviting to have an opportunity to look at things differently. And I hope that people will sign up for it. It's free. It's only 45 minutes, but I think it's going to help us during this very intense time. So moving on to September 19th, we have Venus moving into Virgo. Venus is in her fault in Virgo. Virgo is analytical, precise, nose to the grindstone. I sometimes liken it to the number 4, but interesting, Virgo doesn't vibrate to the number 4. It is work, Labor Day today, getting things done. And what's Venus? Venus is pleasure and love. So this could be a true time of criticism or a wet blanket, so to speak, thrown on sweet, loving Venus. However, we also have Mercury in Mercury in Libra trine Uranus and Pluto. Now that is a mentally stimulating transit. And it's very, very good for creatives, for writers, for artists, for collaborative work, for inspirational thinking. So if you can rise above the Virgo analytical entry Venus going into Virgo in her analytical and say, no, 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 I'm going to listen to you, Venus. I think it can be a great day. On September 20th, we have Venus in Virgo square Uranus in Gemini. That's, what is that? There's so much energy there, changes, revolutionary energy. It's quite, critical. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. A lot of finger pointing, a lot of uncertainty, drama, clashes, ego, energy, anger. So just watch it on that day. I keep reminding you this is globally and personally. So here's the big one. On September 21st, we have the second of the eclipses that we have, and that is a new moon solar eclipse in Virgo at, drum roll, 29 degrees. Okay, critical. And a lot of planets are making aspects to one another, and a lot are at 29 degrees. 29 degrees is a critical degree, and it's very important, 29 degrees. And this can be tense, challenging energy. It could be crazy energy. It can be defining authority. We're just not in our happy place, but we can try and raise that. It's not a great day. And again, there's truths coming up to the surface being unveiled. It's transformational. It's intense. So go to your happy place on September 21st. September 22nd, we have the autumn equinox. Now, what does that tell us? The equinox is calling for balance. And if there's not balance, it could be a pretty frustrating autumnal equinox. So at that time, the sun enters justice-seeking Libra. Libra enters the scene. Libra wants to be, hey, let's be more diplomatic. What's going on here? Libra is also the iron fist in the velvet glove. Just because I'm sweet, or Libra is sweet and wants balance, you better watch it, because there's the iron fist that's going to get things done. So we also have Mars entering Scorpio, and that's pretty intense. Mars and Scorpio. Scorpio's intense all alone and passionate. Mars is fiery. Let's stir things up. So hopefully, the sun in Libra might soften this a little bit, or try to bring some balance to it. So it's passionate, strong-willed energy. And that is where I'm going to end the transits for the month. But I do have a postscript here, because I want to add a little bit of insight and suggestions for this very interesting month. And I just want to show you a couple of other cards that apply. They're nines, and you can tell by the picture. Here's the 9 of Wands. All right. So he's like, I can't do this anymore. We have the 9 here, and that is, just weeping over things. And I can't get out of bed. Again, I can't do this. And feeling worried and, what's going on. However, guess what? We also have the 9 of Pentacles. And with that, it's saying, yeah, all those things, that frustration, that feeling blocked, that feeling like I can't get it done, feeling like, oh, things are ending, I don't like this. Then we have her, the beautiful 9 of Pentacles, and she's in the Garden of Eden. And that's what we can look towards, if we raise our vibration. I know there's so much anger out there, and I just pray, I just send out positive energy, love bombs all the time. So, with everything going on and all the confusion and all the upheavals, we just know, right? We are all these spiritual beings having a really very, very human experience. And I know sometimes you might say, why did I sign up for this? Well, to change the world. And with that, you have to know that we're going to have challenges as human beings, and challenges for everyone. At some point, even death, we can't escape it. And some things are just fated, like death, and there's nothing we can do about it. However, if we're maintaining this higher, more aligned vibration of caring and compassion and love, we can really, I can't stress this enough, we can really minimize the negative or challenging aspects. And I hear this all the time. I get it. Some people say, why is this leaving my neck? That's not what they say. That's what I say. How can I send positive energy or positive vibes to people I think are hurting me or my fellow man? I know. Well, first of all, turn into Brian Katie talking about turning a hateful, she was at the brink of death. She was facing a gun to her head. And she did not send this man anger or hate, and she changed it around, and he never shot her. I hopefully that never happens to you. Again, people say, well, Michele, how can I do that? How can people that are hurting me, how can I send them positive energy? Well, honestly, it's pretty easy when you remind yourself that those poison arrows, those negative thoughts, they're like a boomerang. I'm not kidding. That's no joke. And I don't want to digress too much, but if you look at a lot of people's lives, especially after 40 or 50, you start to see patterns. Why is that person always in debt? Why is that person always has a bad relationship? And that's because we have come here to learn our lessons. And once we do that, then we can open up a whole new world of very positive things coming to us. And how am I tying that in? Well, because usually when people are having these negative experiences over and over again, they have negative thoughts about it. Okay. So know that love can overcome hate, and not in a pansy type of Pollyanna kind of way. If we have enough people vibrating at that level, listen, you've heard this before. I can't afford the luxury of a negative thought. I really can't. I don't want any of that coming back to me. And plus, I want to put positive energy into the world. I know how many people are suffering. I don't want my cells carrying that energy. Every time you say someone's an a-hole or an idiot or any of those horrible derogatory names, and you know what they are and you know who you are, I'm telling you, you're sending, okay, even when they're acting like that, you're sending negative energy and cortisol coursing through your body, through your veins, through your body, through your cells. So please just try to send the world, the leaders that you have are having a problem with, please send them love. You have no idea how positive and what a positive effect that could have. You're helping all of us and you're helping yourself. Okay, two other things I want to mention. This is something I just found out and I love it. It's about the sun. I recently learned, and all of this is just to help you navigate not only through the 9-month, but through your life. I recently learned about the health benefits of looking in the direction of the sun every morning. And I have a morning ritual, and I love to add this to it. And you don't have to stare at the sun, but looking towards the direction of the sun. And what does it do? It regulates our circadian rhythms for better sleep. It boosts vitamin D. It increases serotonin levels. It can improve mood, alertness, focus. So the suggestion is within an hour of waking, you know, do this for 5, maybe 10 minutes if you can. Don't wear glasses or sunglasses, of course. Now, some people are up at the crack of dawn or before the crack of dawn. That would be me. So it may not be an hour. It may be a little bit longer for me, and it may be a little bit longer for you, but try it every day, 5 or 10 minutes, no glasses, no sunglasses, no regular glasses. Look towards the sun. Um, okay, what else did I want to mention? Yes, some really, positive things. So listen to this. A lot of us have been predicting from the beginning of the year that we are in the time of rapid advancements, unbelievable advancements in medicine and technology. You know that has happened, right? Everybody is seeing that rapid fire. We almost can't keep up with it. So I just heard this is groundbreaking. And it is a groundbreaking therapy for ALS. And if you don't know what that is, it is a horrible, terrible neurological disease. And the therapy, I believe it's still in trials, but it's called ASO. And I caught something the other day on the TV. It's giving new hope to sufferers, and they did an interview with a gentleman who was really failing, and he's not. It at that point it kind of stopped the disease, so he's so incredibly grateful for it. So in the mix of all that's happening, there's these little pockets of positive energy, of pleasure, may I say that, even pleasure, and forward moving energy. And I think, no, I don't think, I know, I believe we have to focus on that. And we have to keep our heads, our minds, clear or clean. And do sign up for the free workshop because it'll give you great tips. And with that, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. You can go to my website, michellanders.com, and you can book a free 15-minute consult with me. And I encourage you to do that. So that's it for the month. Can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait to come back next month and see what I've got to report. So thank you, and namaste, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Michelle. That was amazing. Really, from end to end, it was so full of information and insight, and also it lifted me up. So thank you. I know there's a lot of intensity, but you gave us some clues and insights on our path.
Oh, good. I'm so glad because it is so intense this month, and there are, as I said, these pockets of beauty. So that's what we want to focus on. We don't
Yeah.
always want to be down in the dungeon, right? No, we've got the key to get out.
When you said it was an opportunity to be creative and to focus on that, that's always a great um, line of movement for me to just get focused on something that's wonderful instead of focusing
Yes.
on the other stuff. You know,
Yeah, let's not do that.
yeah.
Okay.
So be creative, everyone.
Yes, be creative and report back next month. I want to hear what people have to say about it as well. How the month turns out for them and what they see. And did they tap into their creativity or a hobby, an old hobby? Again, there is South Node involvement. So that means going back. Maybe there's a hobby you can resurrect.
Yes.
So that's it. And
So to
see you next
everyone,
time.
Michelle's doing a workshop on September 18th, and I'll put the link below and the
Oh,
registration.
great.
So you can really join us and learn about working with beliefs and how to impact your own path. I think it's going to
Yes,
be really great, and we'd love to have you with us. So think about it.
me too. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Michelle. Have a good week.
You too.
Month is what I should say.
All
And
right.
thank you, everyone,
Yeah.
for joining us on EWN.
Yeah. Thank you so much. See you next month and be blessed, everyone, and be happy, please.
Yes, take care. Thank you for